Okay, this is the plugging in the answer worksheet. The high school graduation test is all multiple choice, so on a bunch of problems, you can actually plug in the answer using your calculator and save yourself a bunch of time and actually, kind of improve your accuracy without having to know how to actually do the problem. You're kind of hustling the problems a little bit, which is fine. If you get the right answer without cheating, that's great. Okay, so let me show you carefully on number 1 what I mean by this. So they give us an equation, and it's an equation because it has an equal sign. And they're asking us for what values of x is our equation true. So I'm going to show you a calculator trick here. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to try one of these answers. So let's pick answer A, and I'm going to try x equals 5. So I'm going to type the number 5. Okay, pretty exciting. And now I'm going to hit this STO button. So STO is short for store. So when I hit this button, I'm going to be able to store store 5 as a variable. And see the little X right here above the store button? That's what I'm going to store it as. So I'll press this button. Oops, hit it too many times. There we go. So this 5 arrow sign X means store 5 as X. So I'll press enter. And just to show you what it did, I'll clear everything out. And now when I hit X and I press enter, I get back 5. So it saved the value of X, or the value of 5, as X. Why am I making you suffer through all this calculator nonsense? It's about to make our life really, really easy when I try to solve this problem. So now that 5 is X in our calculator, I can actually just type in this equation. So I can type in x squared minus x, there's x, minus 30. Now, if this works, and if I get 0, because it's supposed to be 0, if I get 0, then this could be the right answer because the first part of the answer worked. So let's hit enter, and we get negative 10. Okay, so that actually gives us some information. This didn't work, so this answer is gone, right? We killed it. And eliminating bad answers on multiple choice tests is actually a great strategy. It's a really popular SAT strategy, and it's going to work well in your graduation test. So always be thinking about what answers can you eliminate. You might not be able to eliminate all of them, but if you can eliminate one or more, you're increasing your odds of getting the right answer, which is great. So let's keep going. Next, I would like to try x equals 1. So I'll type 1, store x, where is x? There it is, enter. And now I'll type my equation again. And actually, if you want to be really sneaky, you can hit this up arrow, and there is our equation. And I'll put the cursor over it by continuing to hit up. I'll hit enter one more time, and I don't even have to type it in again, which is awesome. So anyway, I get minus 30, which is not 0. So this answer is also wrong. We've killed 2. Now we have a 50% chance of getting the problem right, which is awesome. So now I'll try negative 1, which is answer choice C. So I'll say negative 1, store x. Now x is negative 1. I'll just test it. There we go. Now I want to get back my equation. Where did it go? There it is. Enter, enter. Negative 28. Not quite. Okay, so the answer's got to be D, but just to show you that it works, let's keep going. So I'll say negative 5, store x. I'll get back my equation here. There it is. And if everything has worked according to plan, which I hope it has. I haven't done this problem yet, but let's try it. We should get 0. So let's see. Boom, there we go. So it works. And just for fun, let's try the other solution. 6 store x, and then I'll get back my equation here. Enter, 0. There you go. So D is the right answer, and that's a great way to do it without having to work too hard and ensuring you're, more likely to get the right answer. Okay, so let's try number 2. So for number 2, same exact idea, a little teeny bit different in implementation. Let's see here. I'd like to try answer choice A. So I will say, negative 12, store as x. There we go. And now I will type in square root of x, which is negative 12 because we stored it, minus 2. And now this is hard. You have to hit right and see how my square root's now going to end. I'll show you what I mean. When I type minus 5, my square root stopped going, which is really important. If the square root had kept going, it would have taken the square root of this whole section, which is not what the problem says. So you have to hit the right button to get out of the square root. Otherwise, it's not going to evaluate correctly. So anyway, when I hit enter, if we get -9, then this must be the right answer. If I don't, then we're going to cross it out. So let's hit enter. Domain error. That's not even close to -9. All right. So this answer is gone. I want to work backwards. I want to try 198. I just have a good feeling about it. And you could go forward, but I just want to try to go backwards here. So 198 stores x. Okay. And now let's get back to our equation. There it is. And 9. There you go. My feeling paid off. All right. So the answer is D. You could always try them all, but the answer for that one is D. There you go. Okay, this problem has an absolute value in it, which I'm not sure if my calculator can handle. That's okay, though. We can still apply the same ideas here. So let's try one of these answers. Sometimes you want to start in the middle. On the SAT, you always do. On the high school graduation tests, maybe. But let's try 2/5. So let's say 2 divided by 5. Store as x. There we go. So x is 2.5, which is 0.4. If you want to confirm that, you can press your switch between fraction and decimal button over here, and you'll see that 2/5 is 0.4, so that's all good. So now we have our value stored. I want to type in, let's worry about the absolute values later, but I want to type in just 5x plus 3. Okay, so I get 5. That's a good sign, actually. So when I plug in 2/5, and here I get 5, and remember that the absolute value is kind of boring. Actually, all it really does is if your number in here is positive, it stays positive. And if your number in here is negative, it becomes positive. So since our number is already positive, it's going to stay positive. So we get this, which is true. So 2/5 is actually the right answer. So we're not out of the woods yet, because notice that answer choice B and C both have 2/5 in them. So it has to be one of those, though. So we are going in the right direction. So now let's try 8/5. Let's see how that does. So if I plug in 8 divided by 5, stored as x, and now I type in our equation again, which is right here, 5x plus 3. Let's see what I get. 11. That's not going to work. The absolute value of 11 is not 5. So the answer must be C. There you go. All right, this problem says, determine the values of x such that x plus 1 squared equals 4 using the square root method. I don't care about this method thing. We're just going to plug in the answers and kind of hack the problem, basically. So let's try a value. Let's try -3. So -3 stored as x. So x is -3. And now I'll type in our problem, which is x plus 1 squared. And if we get, oops, I made a mistake. There's the plus sign. Oops, shoot. All right, so if I get 4, then -3 could be part of the right answer. So let's see. There you go. Okay, that's a good sign. So -3 works. So this could be the right answer. I see both A and B have -3 in them, so I'm going to go ahead and kill C, because there's no way C is right, because the answer has to have -3 in it. Now I'll try -1. -1 store as x. And let me go back to my equation here. There it is. Enter, enter. And 0. That's not good. So -1 is out. So the answer must be B. You can try, this value to make sure it works, but this one's got to be B. Okay. Number 5 says, -x squared plus 4 equals 0. And actually, all these words just kind of get in the way. So if you see a problem like this and you don't understand what they're asking, just don't worry about this. Focus on this. That won't always work, of course, but if you're stuck, it can be a nice way to kind of get around some tough things that you might not understand. Okay, so there's our formula. Let's try -2 store x. So we've made x -2 because the first part of the first answer is -2. And now I'll type in my formula, which is -x squared plus 4. And if this equals 0, then we got it. Let's check it out. Ooh, that's a good sign. Okay, so -2 works. Let's try +2. So 2 store x. So now x is 2. Let's get back our equation. Enter, enter. Ooh, there we go, 0. Okay. we got lucky. So A was the right choice. It worked for both values. That didn't take too much work. All right, number 6 says, solve using the, I don't really care what it says because I'm not going to solve it. I'm going to plug in the answers. Now this one's a little bit harder because it has these square roots. Now, I don't want these to scare you because remember, square roots, they're just numbers, okay? They're irrational numbers, which means they turn into really long decimals in the calculator, but they're still just numbers. And actually, these modern calculators do a pretty good job of dealing with these guys. So, ooh, and one other thing, don't let this plus or minus scare you either. All that means is that there's two options. So for example, like, I don't know, if I said 2 plus or minus 3, all that means is that it corresponds to two numbers. The first number is 2 plus 3. The other one is 2 minus 3. So 2 plus or minus 3 is just the same exact thing as saying 5 and minus 1. That's all it means. So first, let's try answer choice A. So I'll type in -7, and I'm just going to pick plus or minus. I can't do both at once in the calculator, but I can pick one. So I'll say -7 plus square root 5. And I made that same mistake again. There we go. Okay, so I'll hit that, and there, it stored it as a nice square root. Great. So I'll press store x. All right. And now back to our original problem. So x squared plus 14x plus 49. And if this equals 5, then this must be the right answer. There? Ooh, 5. Nice. Okay, now I really should try the minus version too. And did I enter that right? Let me see here. Ooh, I didn't actually put it. No, I did enter it right. Okay, yeah. So the plus version worked, but I really need to try the minus version too. So now I'll type in -7 minus the square root of 5. And I'll store this whole mess. Let me go ahead and press enter. And now I'll store the whole thing as x. And let's see if it still works. Let's see here. Enter, enter. Ooh, it does work. Great. All right, that was easier than I expected. All right, there you go. Okay, one more problem to go. So, what are the zeros of the quadratic function? Now I put this one on here because you can use the same methods from here. It doesn't look like you can, but let me show you what I mean. In algebra, there's 3 or 4 words that get used to have the same meaning. And the words are zeros, solutions, x-intercepts, and there's one more. What is the last one here? Zeros, solutions, x-intercepts, and there's one more. I'm going to think of it in a minute here. These are the big ones though. Okay, so I'll think of the fourth one soon, but these 3 will get you pretty far. So when they ask for the zeros, what they really mean is please set f of x or y, and it's the same thing, f of x and y are the same thing. They're saying please set this equal to 0 and find the solutions of the equation. So what they really mean to do is this. So they're saying what values of x, here's some values of x, which pair of values here is going to make my output 0. That's what they mean when they ask for the zeros. Okay, so we can handle that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try an example and we're going to see if we get 0 out. So let's say -4 store as x. And now let's try it. So x squared minus x minus 12, and we get 8. Not 0, okay? Let's try a different value. So let's say, actually we tried -4, didn't we? So we can kill this and this. Awesome. Let's try this guy. So -3 stores x, and back to our equation here, which is right there. Enter, and we get 0. Good sign. Okay, so this guy's looking pretty good. Ooh, it has to be the right answer actually, because that has +3. You can keep checking, but yeah, this one's got to be C. All right. So that is plugging in the answer worksheet number 1. Right, and these are also called roots. Can't believe I forgot that. So we have zeros, solutions, x-intercepts, and roots. There you go.